Hello, everybody. Good evening. Before we start, may I please see a raise of hands? How many of you are familiar with the Ramon Magsaysay Award? How many? Ooh, how wonderful. You just made me very happy. Because for over 6 decades, the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation has honored individuals and organizations across Asia who embody what we call greatness of spirit. This is about moral courage in action, selfless service, and leadership that clearly shows that they have improved lives. Since 1958, the award has been conferred on 365 individuals and organizations. Guess who our very first awardee was? This might come out in a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire question. Do you know who was the first Ramon Magsaysay awardee? No, it was actually Vinoba Bhave, whose Buddhan movement, whose Buddhan movement reimagined the land reform as an act of conscience here in India. It was in 1962 that Mother Teresa of Kolkata was also honored because of her life that reminded the world that compassion must be lived and not spoken. There's another famous Indian woman that won the award in 1957, Ella Bhatt, who lifted millions of informal women workers into dignity through sewa. And Verghese Kurien transforming India's dairy economy, and more recently, T.M. Krishna and Dr. Ravi Kannan of Assam. The paths of all these people and many more are different, but the spirit is the same. Across backgrounds and ideologies, our awardees share one common thing, and that's because they step into the hardest spaces and create deep, lasting impact in the communities that they serve. And it is in this same spirit that we recognize Educate Girls as the next frontier of India's transformation. It is no longer a revolution in fields and factories, but it's actually in classrooms and life chances. And so once again, I welcome everybody and greet everybody a good evening. It is truly a pleasure to be here at the Jaipur Literature Festival for the launch of Every Last Girl, a journey to educate India's forgotten daughters. This book tells the story behind Educate Girls, founded by none other than Safeena Husain in 2007, an organization that has transformed the lives of millions of girls across India. India has produced 59 Ramon Magsaysay awardees, and Educate Girls is the first Indian organization to receive the award in 2025. This was conferred together with This was conferred to the team by the Board of Trustees, and I had the privilege as well of recognizing them because of their moral courage, their community-rooted leadership, and the unwavering commitment to those most often left behind. Every Last Girl is more than a story of scale. It is a story of moral clarity, of what becomes possible when systems are designed for the last and the forgotten. And in doing so, they uplift the entire nation. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I once again introduce and let's give a round of applause to this wonderful author, Safeena Husain. Safeena, are you ready for my questions?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Born ready.
All right. So this book, and I had the pleasure of reading it myself, cover to cover, carries both hope, but also some hard truths. So let me begin by asking you, after nearly 2 decades of doing this kind of work, why does this story need to be told now in 2026? And who would you most hope would read it?
I think a lot of progress has happened with girls' education, right? We all know that. Many more girls are in school. However, millions of girls are still out of school, right? And they're out of school because of a mindset. And that mindset is still persisting. It's a mindset where a goat is an asset and a girl is a liability. It's a mindset which says investing in your daughters is like watering your neighbor's garden. Why would you do it? It's that mindset that leads to girls being named even today. And we have hundreds, sometimes thousands of girls who are called Mafi, who are called Naraz. Naraz Nath was one of the girls because everybody was so angry when a daughter was born. Or Antimbala, which means the last girl because everybody hoped कि अब इसके बाद बेटा हो जाए, इसके बाद बेटी ना हो. And it is that mindset which is still there, right? And because of that mindset, we have 133 million girls globally who are not in school. It's 133 million dreams which remain unfulfilled, aspirations which remain unfulfilled, and it's 133 million futures that cannot be realized because they don't have access to quality education. So one is, the reason for this book is to again bring to people's attention that the problem hasn't gone away, it still persists. The other reason for the book is very much that it's a problem we can solve. And that's the fantastic and phenomenal and absolutely fascinating story and journey of Educate Girls, which started here in Rajasthan. I always tell people, I said, Rajasthan meri karma bhumi hai, meri janma bhumi to na ho paye, but karma bhumi, because I started work from here in just about 50 villages, and through Educate Girls, which is an amazing movement of people who have come together. It's grown from 50 to 12 states to 30,000 villages today. It's grown from just a handful of people, some of them are in this room today, to thousands of colleagues and also 23,000 Team Balika volunteers who are actually working in villages saying, my village, my problem, I am the solution. Mera gaon, meri samasya, main hi samadhan. And so it's amazing, say, जहाँ problem इतनी बड़ी है, वहाँ एक solution लोगों ने खुद निकाला है, एक movement. And so we really felt that what does one need for mindset change, right? For mindset change, you need to raise awareness and you need to create a dialogue. And we felt that this was the right time to create that dialogue and bring that awareness back onto the issue through this book, which is really the journey of a lot of people in this room. ये उनकी मेहनत है, उनका जोश है, उनका काम है जो हमने इस किताब में दर्शाया है. Sorry, Susanna, I'm breaking into Hindi because...
Yes, no. I mean, I just think it's wonderful that it's like a full circle moment for you, that you started it here in Rajasthan and now, decades later, you're here launching this wonderful book. So what is your message? I can see that there's so many young girls in the audience, and I'm sure that this is going to be live streamed or probably, shown in some other places in the near future. What is your message to young girls today, especially those still waiting for their chance for a good education?
Yeah. To every girl who is not in school and who is still waiting, and there are millions out there, right? I want to tell them one thing, because, I was out of school at one point in my life. And I know how much shame and how much guilt we internalize. We just think it's our fault. We think we were not smart enough. We think we're not worthy of anything, right? So it brings a lot of that. So I know how it feels. And I want to make sure that every last girl who is in that position today, all I want to say to you is that you're in this position not because of talent or ability. You're in this position because life happens. Life happens, things happen. You have to drop out because school was too far or there was some family circumstance. I'll tell you the story of Mamta and Bunty, both of whom were out of school for 10 to 14 years, right? And because things happened, they had to get married early, then they got children, and then they said, what's the point? Everybody started putting that, saying, what's the point, what's the point? Even though they really wanted to complete their education. Halima, who during COVID, her mother passed away. And so she had to take on all the household responsibilities. But these girls have shown courage. They've come back to education. And I'm really happy to say Mamta and Bunty have topped Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh in the state open school exams. After 10 and 14 years of everybody telling you you can't do it, for 10 and 14 years of carrying that shame, they have come out with courage and grit and topped their states. Halima, who is from Munger in Bihar, has actually got a distinction. And all three girls are dreaming of going for studying further, moving. So this is what I want to like send the message saying, listen, education can start, pause, and restart at any point. So do not give up hope. Keep that courage alive, because education is really our pathway for having choices and opportunities, and that's what will give us a voice.
Wonderful. All right, I have a third question, but I'd like to prepare the audience that just in case you might have a question as well, right after Safeena answers her third question, we would like to open it up to some of you that might have something to ask Safeena. So, Safeena, Educate Girls has reached, wow, over 2 million girls. But you and your team also have a very bold new goal of reaching 10 million learners in 10 years. What will it take to get there? And how can those listening to you now help?
First and foremost, thank you for mentioning that. In the last 18 years of this work, all the people who have joined the Educate Girls mission have together brought back 2 million girls, 20 lakh girls. I'm also happy to say I can spot one of them here, Isha, who's here, who has come back, who's now actually moved to Jaipur. She's from Pali district. She just moved to Jaipur to kind of find a job. But it's amazing to see our girls growing up and now they're moving forward. But for a second, I want everybody from the Educate Girls team and who has been past and present with Educate Girls to please stand up for a second, because this is your book, this is your story.
Yay! Oh, look at that. How wonderful.
They are, thank you, they are incredible in the passion that they bring every single day. Let me tell you, they go door to door and knock on every single door in the village to find every single girl. And that's why this book is called Every Last Girl, because we make sure that no girl is left behind. And they've been doing this, and we have team members who have started, who've been with us right from the beginning. We have Baya here as well, who was probably the only person in the Mumbai office with me. So it's credit to you. This is all about you, and this is all of your effort. So I wanted to thank you for that. But I think what it will need for us, and you know, India, if we woke up tomorrow and magically believed that our sons and daughters are equal, you wouldn't need all of us doing this. You wouldn't need an Educate Girl. So it's all up here, which is why I would say what it needs to create a change for our country, for us to really become Viksit Bharat, first starts from self, right? We have to unlearn and relearn. आप अपने घर में सोचिए, घंटी अगर 10 बार बजती है तो कौन उठ के जाता है दरवाजा खोलने? Because that too is inequality. It starts from something as tiny as that. If you're a working woman and you are shutting the door and heading out, and as you close the door, you think, अरे फ्रिज में दही था क्या बच्चों के खाने के लिए? That means you're carrying a higher load. So equality will mean a lot of different things, right? So we have to unlearn behaviors and relearn new behaviors. That change starts with self. The second is with our families and communities. And the Team Balikas really show us the way. Mera gaon, meri samasya, main hi samadhan. We have to make that about mera parivar, meri samasya, main hi samadhan. Mera samaj, meri building, mera everything. We have to adopt that, and that's how the change will come in our communities. And then as an organization, I think we always need resources, because we are going to get to 10 million learners, and that is going to require resources. We're going to reach 10 million learners with talent. We need good people to come and join our mission. And then we need expertise, whether it's technology, whether it's media, whether it is getting the word out of, far and wide. So those are, I think, the key things, Susan, that will get us there. But honestly, we have to do it, because the girls are really our biggest asset. The goat is just a goat. Right? So we have to shift that mindset and make sure, because we've met so many millions of girls, right? No girl ever says, I want to stay at home, I want to become a child bride, I want to graze the goats, I want to, take the cattle. Every single girl wants to go to school. And it's really up to all of us to make her dreams come true.
That's right. And I think that this book right now is primarily written in English, and one of the dreams is also to translate it into Hindi, correct?
Yes, we'd love some money to translate it into Hindi and to buy 30,000 copies so that every Team Balika member has a copy for themselves.
Yay! That's right. All right, so maybe we have a few minutes for one or two questions. Would there be anybody in the audience that might have a question for Safeena? Lady, yes, in black. Go ahead, ma'am. Please state your name and where you come
Hi,
from.
I'm Anshuma. The question to you is that you identified the girls, right? But how did you convince, was it more convincing the families to make them, go back to schooling? And what were the hurdles you faced?
A lot of that is in the book, but thank you for that question.
You can just give a little bit.
Yeah, no, excellent. We have an algorithm that predicts where the highest number of out-of-school girls are. So 5% of villages in India have 40% of out-of-school girls, and once we identify that, those are the villages where we work. We go door to door, find every girl, then convince families through community meetings, mohalla meetings, individual counseling to bring the girls back into school, and then we do learning, life skills, etc. The way mindset change happens is really through dialogue, and it's through personal, authentic storytelling. A lot of it is that, also connecting them with social protection schemes, with government schemes, etc. So it's a combination strategy, and it's not us who, you and I can't do it. We have to do it with who is most proximate and at the village, and which is why we have this army of Team Balika volunteers, because they're the ones, they know their community, they know the challenges, and they're the ones who can drive that mindset shift.
The gentleman, please. If we could give him the microphone.
Congratulations on the work you're doing. This is wonderful. What do you say to people who say, by succeeding the way you've succeeded, that you give governments less incentive to do this job, which is really their responsibility?
Sorry, I didn't get that. So it wasn't clear.
By succeeding in what you're doing, by taking over the responsibility to educate millions of girls, you are doing something that legitimately governments should be doing. But by succeeding, you give them less incentive to do that.
No, it's not an either or, it is an and. So we work in partnership with governments. Everywhere we work with an MOU. And the government is actually dealing a lot with the supply side, right? Supplying the schools, supplying the teachers, learning material, etc. We're actually working very much on the demand side. A lot of that community work, that demand generation work, is really what our core strength is. Secondly, with our Second Chance program, we do technical assistance. So if we have a survey which can geotag villages, households to find all the out-of-school girl or algorithms, so we do technical assistance. But it is a partnership. I don't think any one organization can actually drive change. It takes a whole ecosystem of, there's community partnership and government partnership.
Well, we have about a minute, Safeena. If there's any, maybe three things that you want the audience to take away from tonight, what would those three be, aside from, please make sure you purchase the book? Go ahead.
I think for the audience is very much, I think we need to remember that this is still an issue. We sometimes living in cities forget that how much of an issue it is. And you have to get into the rural, remote, and tribal areas to really recognize the size of the problem. It is still a job to be done. Second, I want the audience to know is it is solvable. It's not like we have to innovate. We already have evidence-backed solutions for this. We have AI algorithms that can tell us exactly where to look. We have community mobilization strategies, which are data and evidence-based. And the third thing I would say is that we have to accelerate. We have to accelerate progress because we cannot let another generation of girls be lost to illiteracy. So there is urgency to this mission.
Thank you. And with that, together, I hope we all educate girls. So can we just all together say that, okay? So when I say together, we all say, we educate girls, all right? So let's end today's session with, together, we educate girls. Thank you. Good evening.